on offense, there's 10 other players out there. And let's make no mistake about it, one guy can't do it himself. And one guy hasn't done it himself. And, Cameron's been surrounded by 10 other very good football players on the offense that have given him the chance to make those plays. Obviously, he is extremely skilled and athletic, and he can make those plays, and he can do those things that some people, will go.
All right, welcome back. That was Coach Gene Chiswick of Auburn talking about Cam Newton, his team's chances tonight in the game. So that's his opinions. Let's hear expert Johnny Fulton's opinions.
Thank you, guys. Honestly, I think Oregon's going to win. I disagree with Gene Chiswick. I think Oregon's going to win because of the defensive battle. I know everybody's talking about the offenses for Auburn and Oregon, but I believe the team that's going to win is going to get the first defensive stop. Linebacker Casey Matthews for the Oregon defense is going to get pressure on Cam Newton and force him to either commit to the run or pass, which he normally can switch off between the two before he reaches the line of scrimmage. Thing with Michael James and Darren Thomas is they have to deal with Nick Fairley, who's going to be rushing, who's going to be blitzing a lot, and they're going to have to choose if they're going to commit to the run or pass it. And then but if you're factoring in the offense, you're going to have to rely on a high passing game. Darren Thomas can also get the ball downfield, but Cam Newton is going to have his arm tested a lot during this game. Again, Casey Matthews is going to shut down Michael Dyer, and they aren't going to really be able to get a running game going with their running back. If Cam Newton can power through the linebacking core, he should have an easy time getting into the end zone. Offensive line can either step up or not do anything, and you can lose the game.
See, Johnny, I agree with you in some of your points. I don't agree with who your winner is. I think Auburn's going to come out on top.
Everybody's.
But I see where you're coming from. Auburn's almost they have one man who does everything. Their quarterback and their running back is essentially the same person. Yeah. If you stop Cam Newton, which nobody's done in their 13 games, you're going to win the game. The thing that I think is going to push Auburn on top is the fact that they played in the SEC, the best conference in college football, no question, compared to Oregon, who played in a decent Pac-10. They had some tough games. But something about Auburn, I think this is going to be a very close game. Something about Auburn, they've had both teams are undefeated, but 6 of their wins have been by single digits. Oregon, on the other hand, had 1 win by single digits, the Cal game, which, as you guys know, 15-13, barely pulled it off. The illegal motion on the kick really saved the game for Oregon, essentially, and clearly a close game. I don't think that in a close game, Oregon's going to be as well prepared as an Auburn team, which has had to play tough games in the SEC against other tough teams.
I disagree with that point. Oregon's team has had better statistics in the second half of the game than they have in the first half, meaning they're a better finishing team and should be able to shut down the late game surges by Auburn.
They're a better finishing team, but I got to look at the game against Alabama, where Auburn was down a significant amount against a good Alabama team, ranked 11 at the time, and they came back and won that game. The Iron Bowl, that's not an easy game to come back in. Usually the team that gets a significant lead in a big game like that is going to hold on. And somehow Cam Newton led his team back. I think that Cam Newton finishes games, starts games, and in the middle of games is as strong as any player in the NCAA.
That was a good win. I was watching that game and was hoping Alabama would win so bad. But I think that was defense, shutting down Mark Ingram, Richardson, and McElroy. But of course, Cam Newton makes every play every play that you can in a game, and they won. But the Cal game, it was close because if you look at the footage again, you can see that they were faking injuries on the play.
Oh, you can say that. You can say whatever you want, but in the end, no illegal motion call. They kick the field goal, they win the game, and we see TCU playing tonight against Auburn. Can you really argue that?
No. But would you really like to see TCU playing?
I would. There's no question I would. They came out in a different BCS bowl game.
I'd rather Stanford.
Stanford? Any of those teams, but TCU especially. They came out in their bowl game, beat a BCS qualifying team. And here's a new question for you rather than just talking about tonight.
Yeah.
How many years is it going to take until we finally see a non-automatic qualifying team in the championship game.
As long as it takes for them to switch into another conference that at least has one ranked team besides Utah, which I don't count, because they lost to Notre Dame at the game right after TCU blew them out, and they actually win against BCS teams.
But you take TCU, a team that's switching into the Big East in the future. If they can go undefeated in the Big East, which is an automatic qualifying conference, not necessarily the best one, probably the worst one, do you see, if they go undefeated in their next season or in the next couple seasons, I think you have to put TCU in the BCS championship game. You have to give them the shot. Let them go in. If they lose, if they get embarrassed, you can say, all right, guess what, we were right. But if they come out and win, you've been restricting this team for the last couple of years, a team that could have won the national championship this year in many people's opinion.
That's the one problem I have with the BCS system, but the Big East is an automatic qualifying conference, no matter how good it is compared to the other ones. As Connecticut, who was the Big East champion this year, had to face Oklahoma, which was not a good game. Not a good game to watch if you're a Connecticut fan. But I'd at least rather than be in the automatic. I'd rather than be an automatic qualifier than not be an automatic qualifier.
So if TCU was in the Big East this year and played almost an equal schedule to what they played this year, you think that they're a BCS championship quality team?
I think that it would be more of a boost to get them in there.
It would help the cause?
Yeah, it would help the cause.
All right.
All right, so we got some strong opinions on that game. Max, are you rooting for Auburn, or you just think they're going to win?
You know, I'm not necessarily the biggest college football fan. I like watching good games. I know Johnny obviously cares more about college football than anything in the world, but you know, it's a great sport. It's fun to watch kids who are playing for pride rather than money, and I think it's going to be a great game. I think Auburn's going to come out on top, and I think that Cam Newton's going to use this game to help boost his NFL ability and his NFL, how teams look at him as a prospect, and I think that they're going to come out on top.
Yep. And I'm going to say this once. This is the Cam Newton show. Winners know how to be winners, and I think Cam Newton will pull it out in the end and lead Auburn to a great and successful year, ending with a BSC championship.
This leads to my story about how I got into college football. Matt Leinart, who was supposed to be the best quarterback in college football, was unstoppable, apparently. So was Reggie Bush. And a man named Vince Young for Texas beat them in the BCS National Championship game.
So are you saying Auburn's the favorite, but you think that Oregon's going to come out on top?
Yep.
You think Auburn's the better team, but Oregon's going to win?
No, I think Oregon's the better team.
You think Oregon's the better team?
Yeah.
Quick predictions. John,
You have a score?
56-50.
56 to 50.
Wow, that's an offensive game.
Did he not say it was centered around defense? I think Auburn comes out on top in a high-scoring game, not quite in the 50s. 100 points scored in the championship game, that would be quite a sight. I think more like a 35 to 27 game in favor of Auburn.
I say 27-24 Auburn.
I'm going to go 35-30 Auburn.
Oh, there we go, 3-1.
All right, so we appreciate having John on the show with us tonight. We loved his input. For Max and Jeff, I'm Eric, and that's all we got from YBA Sports tonight.